In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is a website if you want to engage live in the content. We do that a couple times a day. We try to come on here live on Instagram here, Facebook Live there. So we've got two different ones right now. My goal, if I can keep my sanity doing it, is to go Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live with a third device. I'm not quite ready for that yet, you guys, but when I do get there, we'll be doing that. So go follow me at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can watch live, just like all of you guys are doing right now. So thank you for that. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay on Instagram for up to 24 hours. Here on Facebook Live, you guys can watch this forever and ever. Amen. It is one of the features I like about Facebook Live. But we do past episodes up on YouTube. I did it again. Instagram, I keep turning you around. Sorry about that, guys. You can watch all the past episodes on YouTube. And so go follow me there, again, at Living Low Carb Man. So you can also look it up, Jimmy Rants, as a keyword search. You'll find the show. Finally, we have the best of the best moments of this here show in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast, which my wife is calling me a crazy dude here on Facebook for some reason. You're a crazy dudette for marrying the crazy dude. Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcast as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at JimmyRants.com. And yes, let me show off my new shirt. Keto San Antonio. There's a great group of people. Anna, Lindy, Brittany, all those guys that are a part of the Keto San Antonio group. Go check them out, you guys. All right. Today's Jimmy Rants is one you're not going to believe until you hear it. So when you go keto, for example, you might have people in your life that go, you just need to live a little. Nobody needs to be so restrictive all the time. That can't possibly be healthy for you to stay so restrictive. Oh my gosh, you're cutting out a whole category of food when you don't eat carbohydrates, which is always silly to me because most of the carbs that people are eating in their diet is anything but food, but I digress. So you have those well-meaning people. Oh, well, you need to live a little bit. Keto is just, it's not meant to be lived that way all the time. And I think you just need to let go a little bit sometimes, not be so restrictive, especially those of you that have lost a lot of weight. You know what I'm talking about. You get these well-meaning people that say, oh, you've lost enough weight. You need to stop. You need to stop that dieting thing because I think you're getting too healthy now. And I've always gone, too healthy? What the heck does too healthy mean? And you're doing things very extreme. And so nobody needs to go to that extreme. Just eat a balanced diet and all will be well. Now, let me give one caveat. There are people that do take things to the extreme. And we talked a little bit about it on my Jimmy Rants from earlier today. Talking about kind of where you can slouch towards orthorexia because you obsess about numbers in your health markers so much so. And that's a real and present danger for some people. They can slouch towards that feeling of orthorexia. But there's a headline, you guys. Is our obsession with healthy eating out of control? And they make the case in here that you're doing extreme dieting, things like paleo, fasting, and meat-only diets, and that can't possibly be healthy. So what I want to talk about here today is it possible that eating low-carb keto is considered too healthy and extreme? Let's explore that further. With the rise of strict diets all across America, from paleo to low-carb to Whole30 and keto, debate about what and how we should eat has become more polarized than ever before. Staunch vegans avoid everything from steak to honey, while followers of other diets reduce their food intake to nothing but meat. They're talking about the carnivore people, which, oh yeah, by the way, I'm still doing my keto carnivore, so it's the all meat and animal-based products through the prism of the macros of a ketogenic diet, which for me falls around 75 to 80% of my calories. Devotees of intermittent fasting, meanwhile, restrict eating to certain windows, daily between 12 and 8 p.m., for instance, or every other day. A friend of mine recently saw a passenger on a flight eating raw meat off the bone. Yeah, what's wrong with that? I wouldn't do it, but what's wrong with that? These examples, admittedly the most extreme, illustrate a cultural trend that has emerged over the last 2 decades and intensified recently, a dogmatic obsession with extreme diets. All right, I'm gonna stop right there. If you're just joining us, we're talking about this whole notion of, is it possible that eating low-carb keto is too healthy and extreme? That's what this article that I'm reading from, this is out of the Boston Globe, by the way, so a pretty major newspaper. And they're making the case that if you're committed to eating a healthy diet, you're extreme. And I want to say that the reason why people go to a low-carb diet, go to a paleo diet, hey Dad, how are you? I see my father-in-law just showed up on Facebook Live. Go to these extremes in what they do is because of the failure of the chosen one diet that we've been told is healthy. Think about how many of us have gone on a diet in our life. What has it always been predicated on before you found low carb, keto, paleo, whatever you're doing? Yeah, it's low fat. And so you cut your fat obediently. And you eat the healthy whole grains obediently. And you exercise till you drop obediently. We've done all of the things that they tell us are supposed to be the health modalities, but they haven't worked. And we've cut our calories and we've gotten hungrier. We've done all of the things. To me, the extreme diet is continuing on a plan where you don't give a crap about your health, continuing on a way that you don't really care about what you're putting in your mouth and the impact that it has on your health. You don't care about your lifestyle choices. You don't try to use better household cleaning products that are non-toxic. You just don't care. And to me, the thing that low-carb keto has done for me more than anything is, for the very first time in my life, I give a crap. I do. I care about everything that I do in my diet and my lifestyle. And I know for so many of you, it's the same way. You care probably for the first time in your life because of how good you feel from eating low-carb keto. So if you're just joining us, we are reading this Boston Globe article, and is our obsession with healthy eating out of control? And they're making the argument, you guys, that it is possible that you could be too obsessed about being healthy and people take it to the extreme. So I'm asking the question, is it possible that eating low-carb keto is considered too healthy and extreme? I don't think so. The SAD diet is unhealthy. That's extreme. The SAD diet keeps raising my blood sugar. The SAD diet kept raising my insulin levels. The SAD diet kept packing on pounds until I got to 410 at one point in my life, where I was drinking 16 cans of Coca-Cola in a day. That I was eating whole boxes of Little Debbie snack cake, and I was eating fast food like it was nobody's tomorrow. And despite all of this massive amount of calories I was shoving into my mouth, I was still hungry. I was still wanting more. And so now I'm able to eat healthy fats and healthy proteins and very minimal carbs. And right now with this keto carnivore, no carbs. And I'm able to keep all of that under control very naturally with diet. And they want to call that the extreme, when to me the extreme was becoming morbidly obese and being on 3 prescription medications for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and breathing problems, and shoving down sugary swill in my pie hole every single day, one right after the other, because I was so highly addicted to sugar. I don't want to be there again. And if it means you want to label me as an extremist with my diet, then so be it. And this whole notion of too healthy, unfortunately, nobody talks about all of those people that don't give a crap about their health. So I'd rather people be, quote, too healthy than to not care about their health at all. And unfortunately, the latter is what the vast majority of people are doing. But thankfully, this news article is highlighting that a lot of people are making a change. And the reason they're going to a lot of these things they described, low carb, paleo, Whole30, and keto, is standard diet advice that's supposed to be healthy has failed us miserably. Can I get a witness, anyone? Because we've all gone on those starvation diets. We've all gone on a diet that cuts fat, and we're just starving to death. And we've done those things over and over again. And the last time I checked, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And we have been living in an insane diet world for decades. So excuse me while I go do my extreme keto, paleo, Whole30, low carb diet, because it's making me healthier than I ever thought could be possible. All right, let me continue with the story. The percentage of Americans who follow any specific diet grew to 36% in 2018, compared with just 14% 1 year before. Did you see that? It went from 14% and it nearly tripled to 36% in 2018. And I saw a lot of stats early this year, you guys, of the number of people that wanted to try a ketogenic diet. It's like almost 33% of the population just wanted to try keto. That doesn't even count the people that want to go vegan or want to try some other diet. Just keto was a third of the population. People are catching on that there's a new, better way to get healthy. And yet, Boston Globe wants to describe them as extreme. Concerned about my genetically high cholesterol, I avoided all meat and dairy for about 6 months in 2011. I lowered my overall cholesterol numbers and balanced all the ratios between good and bad cholesterol. I lost a substantial amount of hair in the process, which we talk about this quite a bit on my Thursday show, Keto Talk. Hair loss is not axiomatic of going low carb and keto. It's just not. Under eating calories is a major reason why you could have hair loss. There's a lot of other things involved, but suffice it to say that that's not a big deal. Now, they talked about genetically high cholesterol. I wonder if he actually had the Ambry genetics test run, because people that have higher cholesterol, I have a familial hypercholesterolemia, and do they actually get the test run? I did. I got it run because my cholesterol's always been high. I ran it in 2012 from Ambry, A-M-B-R-Y genetics, and it showed a 5% chance that I have familial hypercholesterolemia. In other words, no, that's not why I had high cholesterol, and it turned out that I had unresolved mercury amalgams that were still in there that needed to be cleaned up and put in better material. And then I had unresolved infections in where I had root canals. And so getting those cleaned up dropped my total cholesterol by 100 points. And yet mainstream medicine would have said, oh, you have a statin deficiency. Here, take Lipitor. Here, take Crestor, without actually getting to the root cause of the problem. And by the way, I was just at Costco getting a new water hose for my chickens in the backyard. And this lady saw the Keto shirt I was wearing. I'm representing Keto San Antonio, by the way. And they're like, oh, Keto, I would do that, but it will mess with my cholesterol. It's like, oh boy. So I said, well, you know, cholesterol isn't like the be-all, end-all problem that you think it is. Oh, I know, but I just don't think that's healthy to have higher cholesterol. I said, well, really, the thing you need to worry about are triglycerides. It's just, yeah, I've heard about triglycerides. I will hear a little more. So, several years later, this is the person in the article again, I read Gary Taubes' Good Calories, Bad Calories, and I drastically reduced my carbs for several months in order to get healthier, managed my sweet tooth, and have more energy. Nothing devastating happened, but I had even less energy than before, and I started to feel like a carnivorous wolf, more so than a civilized human. With each diet, it's unclear that I became healthier. All right, so if you felt on a low-carb diet, if you felt you had less energy, you didn't do it right. I think sometimes people will read books like Good Calories, Bad Calories, which Gary's book is fabulous. You got to be a nerdy science person to read that book, but it's fabulous. But if your take-home message is, let me willy-nilly cut carbs down in my diet without doing anything else, don't be surprised when you're lacking in energy. Don't be surprised if you don't feel necessarily well, because it's not just about cutting carbs. And who knows, did they cut their carbs enough? Did they cut their calories, which is easy to do when you go low carb, keto? They probably did. And they probably didn't eat enough fat because, again, earlier they were mentioning the cholesterol, the traditional genetically high cholesterol levels. So they probably subconsciously cut fat in their diet. That's why they didn't feel well. If you're gonna do a well-formulated ketogenic diet, here's how you do it. Low carbs to your tolerance level, okay? And it's total carbs, not net carbs. Moderate protein to your personal threshold, which protein's kind of, it depends on a lot of things in your life, but let's just say you wanna get adequate protein, but not too much. And then finally, fat to satiety. So you wanna eat it just enough dietary fat in order to not be hungry, but you're not gorging yourself on sticks of butter, okay? Had he done that, he probably would have done okay. All right, so let me continue in this story. By the way, the name of the person that wrote this, Janae Engelhard, a doctoral candidate at Boston University. So that's who wrote this article. In his book, The Perfect Health Diet, scientist and biotech executive Paul Jaminet, who I know Paul personally from the Paleo community, the ancestral health community, he advocates for a natural evolutionary-based approach. He says people that seek extreme diets are looking for the magic bullet that solves the problem of how to live a healthy life, hence the popularity of simplistic, plant-only or meat-only diets. Now, with all due respect to Paul Jaminet, that is not why people choose to go vegan or choose to go carnivore. I don't think anybody looks at that as a, quote, extreme diet. What they look at it as is simplifying the diet. And I think simplifying for some personality types is why a carnivore diet or a vegan diet seems so attractive. So I don't think you need to run or throw the baby out with the bathwater just because someone chooses to eat a diet like that. And I don't think anybody's looking for it to be a magic bullet for weight loss or for health improvements. I think what a lot of people are doing is they're seeking answers where mainstream health professionals that are supposed to be the wizards of smart, telling us how people are supposed to eat to be healthy, they have failed us miserably. So if they weren't derelict in their duty, those of us out here in the real world, living life in the day-to-day, trying to figure out how to be healthy and how to eat to live to be healthy, we wouldn't have to seek out all of these different plans if they would simply give us these options. The problem is there's so much influence on what's being taught to people. You go through registered dietitian school, those RDs are not learning anything about the healthfulness of saturated fat, for example. They're not hearing anything about why a state of nutritional ketosis could be an optimal thing for some of their clients, especially the ones with insulin resistance and the ones with type 2 diabetes. They're not learning any of that. What they're learning is propagandized dogma. And so as much as we want to point the finger at people seeking extreme diets and calling something like a low-carb keto diet as too healthy or extreme, I think we need to look at what are people doing that for? What's the reason? The reason is the failure of mainstream health people, nutrition people, medical people, doctors, nurses, of being able to help people. And if they're not helping, then they have to seek out on their own. And that's what leads them to all these modalities. Our obsession with diet, health, and the associated numbers points to a greater problem. Nutrition backed by science has become like a religion for some. Well, I'll stop there. If low-carb keto is your religion, please go find another Jesus in your life because low-carb keto is not a religion. Low-carb keto is how you eat. Low-carb keto is a healthy way to nourish your body. But low-carb keto, if low-carb keto was not a part of my identity, I have a brand, Livin' La Vida Low Carb, people know me as. I've written several keto books, Real Food Keto, Keto Clarity, The Keto Cure, The Ketogenic Cookbook. If I wasn't identified with those terms, I would never think that, oh, well, this is my religion and I must bow down to the keto diet. I would never think that, and people think that about me because I am in this community. I do come on here on Jimmy Rants and on my podcast and talk about keto a lot, but keto isn't everything about my life. It's just what I do. It's what I talk about. It's how I am healthy in my life thanks to eating that way. And then I disseminate information about it. But I don't sit there and worship at the altar of keto. I praise my Jesus is what I do. That's my religion. That's who I worship. The focus has shifted from obsessive calorie counting to strict adherence to elimination regimes. So they're talking about when you go on like a carnivore diet, you cut out all vegetables. When you go on a ketogenic diet, you cut out all carbohydrates. When you go on a vegan diet, you cut out all meat. Of course, they never talk about low-fat diets. You cut out all fat, and there's lots of health properties to fat. And of course, what they're trying to do, you guys, is to get us to eat a so-called balanced diet. And if you followed my work for a little while, you know I do not like balanced. What does it mean to eat a balanced diet? What is one person's balance? What if one person's balance isn't balanced for me? How do I determine what the proper balance is? It sounds all well and good. Eat a balanced diet from all the food groups. Sounds so good, doesn't it? There's no science that backs that. They want to talk about science, nutrition backed by science becoming like a religion. I think the biggest religion in the nutritional health world is all these people that say, just eat in moderation and eat a balanced diet from all the food groups. It's so easy if you just do that. And I'm like, yeah, go bite me. Because that has not worked. And you know it, and you know it, and you know it. Everybody knows it. That has failed miserably, right? Historian Diana Wiley, author of Starving on a Full Stomach, suggests that perhaps these numeric dietary fixations are a, quote, sign that those people who feel adrift in an age of waning religious faith are groping for some sense of control over their destinies. Your diet is not your religion. I will repeat that. Entering the confines of a specific health movement, whether it's veganism, paleo, clean eating, whatever, resembles joining a religious sect set on purification through enlightenment. So they're making the case, you guys, that people have made diet their religion because they don't believe in God anymore. Well, number one, go believe in God, because I think that's a good thing. But apart from that, don't believe in your diet as your God, as your religion. You don't have to, and you shouldn't. For some people, it may be an assertion of individualism, a way of telling the world, look, I'm special, I'm keto, I'm vegan, I eat paleo. Like religious denominations, these extreme eaters quibble over finer tenets of the faith, whether vegans are permitted to eat gluten, for example, or whether paleo man consumed dairy. So then they conclude, if extreme diets are not the solution, then what is? Here we go. Here's where we're getting to the bread and butter, so to speak, of this whole piece. Evidence suggests that many of us are somewhat bewildered about nutrition. Yeah, no kidding, because we have so many nimwits in the nutritional health space that pretend to be the wizards of smart about this, that are putting out conflicting information and confusing the crap out of people. That's why people are so bewildered about nutrition. Let's be clear about what we're sharing with people. Let's not cite epidemiological and observational and mouse studies. Let's only cite research that's looking at randomized controlled clinical trials. That would be a huge start to take away the confusion. The problem is the epidemiological studies get the nice, sexy headline. Keto diet will cause you to die tomorrow if you eat a steak tonight. They throw those kind of headlines up all the time, you guys, and it scares the bejeebies out of people. And that's really the only purpose of them doing that. There's no real science there that has human application. So the fact that they're somewhat bewildered about nutrition, of course they are. And I would argue it's by design. To scare, to confuse, to convolute what it is that's true about nutrition. They don't want you to think about what role nutrition plays on your blood sugar, what it's doing to your inflammation levels, what it's doing to your insulin levels. None of those things are relevant in their paradigm of what they think you should be doing. Eat in moderation. Don't eat too much. Keep your calories low. Keep your fat grams low. This is the kind of advice they tried to pitch at us for years. A 2018 study by the International Food Information Council suggested that 80% of consumers receive conflicting info on what constitutes a healthy diet. 59% doubt that their food choices even matter. Did you see that? 59% don't think what they put in their mouth matters at all. And what that means is they have successfully propagandized people into thinking that what you eat does not matter in your health. And we know better. We know what you put in your mouth is everything, at least most of it, of what happens in your health. The problem is doctors aren't being taught this in medical school. Dietitians are not being taught the right information, or at least having a variety of thoughts on this when it comes to what you put in your mouth and its effect on your health. They're not learning. And so that's being reflected in 80% of people are just totally confused about what to do and what to eat. Kind of like that lady at Costco earlier that thought her high cholesterol was some great disease when it's not. And 59%, 6 out of 10 people don't think what they put in their mouth matters. This is scary, guys. I can't bring myself to suggest eating a balanced diet. Well, thank God for that. The author didn't want to do the balance. And moderation will mean different things to different people. At least that's the first thing in this whole article I have agreed with wholeheartedly. A nutritionist in Boston named Julie Freeman recommends that individual approaches to diet should be encouraged. Absolutely. So there is this thing called bioindividuality. Christine has hammered this into my head, so thank you, honey, for that. Bioindividuality means there's no one right diet for all. And so if there's no one right diet for all, why are we telling everybody cut your fat? Everybody cut your calories. Everybody do the same thing. We're not all a bunch of friggin' lemmings. We are real people who have past experiences that have put our metabolisms where they are at this point in time. And we have to respect that. We have to honor that people are where they are. And if we don't do that, then we get caught in this whole confusion of, well, everybody should eat gobs and gobs of quinoa. Well, what if quinoa raises my blood sugar? Oh, but it's healthy. Yeah, but for who? And by what measure are you looking at it being healthy? Oh, well, we just know it's healthy. Well, how do you know? Oh, but it is. And see, that's where we are. And that's why people are confused. Julie Freeman, the nutritionist in Boston, also said, cautioning that the proliferation of diet advice may do more harm than good. So they're making the case, you guys, that people like me promoting a ketogenic diet to people may be doing more harm than good. No, what I am is a purveyor of information. And I would encourage you to always, always, with me or anybody that you see talking about nutritional health, always, always take what they have to say, listen to what sounds interesting to you, and then go investigate it yourself. Because we become very sheeple, let's just put it that way. And sheeple follow obediently whatever they hear. And I don't want anybody that watches Jimmy Rants to be a sheeple. I want you to hear what I say. And if something piques your interest, go look it up. Go research it. Go Google it, noodle around, and verify that what I'm saying is true. And if something doesn't sound right, then definitely go verify that. Now, how many people in the nutritional health world are telling you, all right, listen to what I have to say, but then go double check it? No, they hope you're a sheeple. They hope that you listen at face value and obediently follow everything that they say. And you want to know who's the worst at this is mainstream medical doctors. They just hope that whatever they say is the gospel truth, and a lot of people do. They believe wholeheartedly whatever their doctor tells them. And if they believe it, they follow it. What if it's not true? What if it's not the right thing? What if it's not healthy, what they're telling you to do? You do it. Well, they're a doctor. They wouldn't tell me anything that would harm me. Want to bet? Natural whole foods, a category that includes vegetables, meat, fish, nuts, and eggs, are all the best choices according to Jaminet. He notes there are at least 60 nutrients that we need to obtain from food for optimal health. These include minerals such as magnesium, calcium, zinc, vitamins A, D, E, and K, and C. Less known nutrients like phospholipids, which are found in egg yolks and liver, extracellular matrix components found in shellfish, and released into soups and stews from bones and joints. Any diet that deprives us of any of these nutrients, or in some cases provides them in excess, will harm your health, according to Jaminet. These days, the author Janae Engelhard says that they eat a variety of foods, both meat and plants. I no longer categorically eliminate any specific food group. I realize that even sound nutrition, however you define it, cannot solve all your problems. More importantly, does not substitute for having a meaningful life. Let me pause there real quick. There's more to life than food. I know that's shocking to say in the keto community, but my life does not revolve around keto. My life revolves around the things that are interesting to me in my life, and that includes Christine, who's watching right here. That includes my chickens in the backyard, my cats, my church, the people that I love in my life. Those are the things that matter, not keto. Doesn't mean I'd ever abandon keto. It just means it's not the totality of who and what I am. Who and what I am is so much deeper than any one given diet. And so a meaningful life, to me, being a giver, being someone that pours himself into others, that's my meaning. How I eat is just how I eat. So that's keto. But how I live my life is a far different thing and has a lot deeper roots than being keto ever will. Good nutrition simply enables us to age gracefully, to get the most out of our genes. I think no one would deny that health is a means to an end. And if we focus too much on achieving our health and longevity to the detriment of all the other pursuits that create purpose in life, then we are missing the point. Guys, I eat keto because I want to live as long as possible so that I can help as many people as possible. And so if keto is my means to an end to living a long and healthy life, and not just long, I want to live all the way to the very end with as much energy, with as much vitality, with as disease-free as possible, with as low of aches and pains as possible. Those are my goals. Those are the things that I want to see happen from eating keto and from doing all these biohacks that I do and from living this life that I've been given. And I think sometimes people take their life for granted and they don't acknowledge all the good things about their life. And I think that's as much a part of what they're talking about here. So guys, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants, and I know it was a little bit long, but it was one worth going over, is you're going to hear people talk about eating low carb, eating keto as being too healthy, as if that's such a thing. Most people aren't healthy enough, so I don't understand what, quote, too healthy means. I see my Aunt Mary Jane just came on here. Her son, Robbie, has been on keto for several months now. He had triglyceride levels over 800 when he started on keto. He's type 2 diabetic. He's got a lot of issues going on in his health. And so he went keto. He is feeling great. He's doing really spectacular right now. So try telling Robbie that eating low-carb keto is too healthy, too extreme. Mary Jane, you would agree he's far better off now because he decided to make a change. And I'm very proud of him and the things that he's doing. And so many of us that are on here right now, you have similar stories. You can't call it extreme when it's giving people benefit, right? All right, I've talked enough. I'm going to go to Instagram Live first, and then I'll come to you guys here in a minute, Facebook. So thanks for being here. Welcome in, you guys. Welcome to Jimmy Rants. Love that shirt, says Lindy. Yep. Once again, Keto San Antonio, representing my friends down there that have a great group of people. Brett says, haha, too healthy. What's that? Exactly. Jane Doe says, so true and so silly. Silly is definitely the word for this. Extreme Amy says, yeah, but to lose weight, really lose weight, it's so worth it. Yeah, that's for sure. And get healthy is so worth it. Katrina says, they say that the definition of insanity is doing this. Yeah, I said that too. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That was what SAD was to me, the SAD diet. Look at me like I'm a weirdo all you want, says Amy. I love that. Alberto, if we ask a drug addict, is it healthy and extreme to quit drugs? I bet he would say yes, just like carb addicts do. Oh, Alberto, I love that. Kimberly said, the thing that got me in trouble was not giving a crap. Now I do. I feel keto will allow me to see and enjoy my grandchildren one day. I choose health and happy. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Ann says, too healthy? What in the world does that mean anyway? Exactly. Mama Ors, it makes me nuts when people start talking like I'm eating unhealthy. Nobody cared when I ate sugar and carbs. Mama Ors, that's the thing. Articles like this, where they're like making fun of people that are intermittent fasting or eating paleo or eating carnivore or keto. These are people that finally want to do something about their health and about what they're putting in their mouth. Nobody blinks an eye at the ding-dongs and the ho-hos and the Coca-Cola and the Doritos and all this crap and fast food that people put in their mouths every single day. They don't. They just don't care. And yet they want to make fun of me because I eat low-carb keto? That doesn't make sense. Why is that extreme and fast food's not? All right. You said mercury amalgams. Oh man, I love you even more now. Did you have some too, Brittany? Is that why you said that? Katrina, the fact that we live in a society where Pop-Tarts are normal and steak and salad are extreme scares the crap out of me. Ugh. Preach, girl, preach. For sure. I eat a balanced diet. A steak in one hand and a pork chop in the other hand. That's a balanced diet, Val. I love it. That's cute. I love that one. Lord help me, you're cracking me up. Happy to be entertaining. I remember years ago sitting with a nutritionist going over what I was eating and what exercise I was doing. No one could answer why I was still unhealthy and fat. Yeah. They never put two and two together, okay? And here's the thing that really gets my goat and what's gotten my goat over the years. When you go to see your doctor, you know you should cut your fat a little bit and maybe exercise and all these tautologies about diet and health. And then when you go back to see him again, you still hadn't lost weight. Well, you need to cut your fat even more. You could be down to 0 grams of fat. And that's all they had. That's all they would say. Nobody ever stopped to say, I wonder why Johnny can't lose weight. I wonder why Sally keeps having higher blood sugar and blood pressure. Maybe I need to up their meds. They never stop to think, I wonder if what they're eating is causing these problems. They don't. And they want to know why people turn to these diets like paleo and fasting and keto and low carb and whole 30, because the mainstream has failed us. That's why. We crave having a label, says Brittany. Vegan, keto, XYZ, just eat real food. Yeah, there was a movement, Brittany, before you came on the scene in the past couple of years. There was a movement about almost 10 years ago from my buddy Sean Croxton. He used to have this great health podcast. It's still available if you want to go listen, called the Underground Wellness Podcast. He's been on my show a few times. I was on his show, but he always talked about just eat real food. And so one day he created like a t-shirt like this that said JERF, J-E-R-F, just eat real food. And they always thought that jerfing would catch on, because that really is the goal. We want people to jerf, just eat real food. And here's the thing, when you jerf, you could be vegan. When you jerf, you could be carnivore. When you jerf, you could be low carb keto. When you jerf, you could be paleo, any diet that encompasses the concept of real whole foods. I thought it was a brilliant idea, but it never caught on. Maybe it'll catch on after keto dies down. They brainwash people. You go to the doctor, they give you a pill for a symptom instead of healing with food. Indeed. Lion of the Atlas says, big food is ruining our lives to fill their pockets. Crazy. Yep. I'm getting ready to have pork tenderloin and cauliflower, aka Arkansas contraband, for dinner. If you don't know what Katrina's talking about, go watch my Jimmy Rants from yesterday. They have banned the use and sale of cauliflower rice. They can't call it that in Arkansas anymore. They passed a law against it. If I only had some bread to save my life. You guys crack me up, man. Babies are born in a keto state, says CDoc. Yes, they are. They definitely are. Let's see. Carbs, sugar, cocaine are all hellacious drugs. There's no such thing as too healthy, as I prefer to look at health as the vehicle to enjoying my life to the most that I can, says Wirehead. Indeed. Richard says people have just a narrow mindset because all they know are the garbage foods that they were raised on. They unfortunately don't know that real food is legit, alternative, and ancestral works. Yep. A vet told me one time that they had 6 years of nutrition. Doctors have 6 weeks. Actually, I just talked to a doctor who said he had a 1 hour seminar. That's it. That's all he had. 1 hour. Laumisha Extreme is that a dietitian told me that I should eat 50 grams of carbs per meal in order to control my diabetes. Shaking my head. Yeah, because that's what they learned. Let's see here. Sadly, a doc I went to years ago never diagnosed me with diabetes, says Val. Just kept increasing my BP meds, switched doctors, and she gave me a different BP med and an A1C test. Saved my life. Yeah. All right, so I've been derelict in paying attention to Facebook, so I'm coming to you guys now. So welcome in, welcome in. Let's scroll all the way back to the top on you guys. You guys had a lot of great comments coming in, so thank you for that. You're one crazy dude, says my wife. See, you married it. They wouldn't say to eat a bunch of crap is extreme. They don't blink an eye at that. Exactly. My wife is a smart one. I'll be a healthy extremist and love it, says Kathy. Yep. And those diets don't work. Keto is the only diet that ever worked for me, says Janet. Yep, a lot of us. And the reason keto worked was we probably would have found it a lot sooner had it been recommended. But the fact that they don't recommend it, we don't know about it. Sean says, I guess it all comes down to mentality, relationships surrounding food, right? If orthorexia is developed, it could progress into an extreme approach. And thank you for that, Sean. I did address that a little bit on my Jimmy Rants this morning, talking about how we could slouch toward orthorexia if you're not careful. If you look at health markers and, oh, it's not good enough, and it's actually perfectly healthy. So you're right, but I think more people have the opposite problem. They just don't care. And of course, articles like this certainly do not help. An extreme healthy diet could put Big Pharma out of business, says Maria. Yeah, that it could. Laurie says, too healthy? What's the definition of healthy? There's only about 12% of the population that has a normal metabolism. You're right. Most people are pretty insulin resistant on some degree, either slightly or very heavily. More scare tactics, says Kathy. Bottom line is it's about money. Yeah, I guess if they tell people don't do extreme, then what do? They go back to eating the crap again, just less of it. Maybe that's what they're doing. And of course, when you eat crap, it makes you want to eat more crap, and so eventually you eat more crap, not less of it. I think keeping track of our numbers is important, so we monitor how we're doing. I don't think that's extreme. It's just caring about your health. I just had a bunch of numbers and found a lot of them were off. I now know what needs to be worked on. Yeah, if you didn't run them, you wouldn't know. The sad diet failed me, says Terry. Low-carb keto saved my life and my health. I'll keep eating real whole foods, and you should. Nancy says, what is sad? Sad, standard, American diet. And it's a sad diet indeed. What scares me is they're talking about forcing people to take prevention shots, says Janet. Yeah, and over my dead body, I'll do a prevention shot. Keto is only a part of us, not who we are as a whole, says Kathy. Yeah. I hope that's an overriding theme of what you heard here today. We have a lot of extreme going on. Just keep on keeping on, says Terry. Yeah. It's crazy what's happening behind the scenes in nutrition. Really appreciate your work. Thank you, Jody. Appreciate that. Eating crap makes you feel like crap, says Pam. Well stated, my dear. Well stated. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Jerf caught on with me. I like to just eat real food. All right, guys. So the bottom line, this Jimmy Rants. Is it possible that eating low carb, keto, Whole30, Paleo, intermittent fasting, carnivore, any of these diets that are popular right now could be too healthy and too extreme? Hopefully by now you know my position on this is I don't think there is such a thing. As long as you keep the focus on this is your diet as a means to an end to get healthy. Don't make it your religion. Don't make it the totality of who and what you are. And if you do that, then I think eating this way is perfectly fine. And those of us that have found benefit will continue to get the benefits. And here's the thing, we'll probably outlive people like Janae Engelhard who's a doctoral candidate at Boston University. So she's a doctoral candidate. She's in her like early to mid 20s. I hope to outlive her because of my choices that I choose to make and I know are giving me better health. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. If you want to engage live in the content, you got to go follow me over on Instagram Live or Facebook Live. I'm also on YouTube Live. I'm really liking this Instagram, Facebook thing, though. I might continue to do this for a little while, getting good engagement from all of you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Go follow me at Living Low Carb Man on Instagram, as well as on Facebook, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live. On Facebook Live, you can actually watch it on replay after it's done. So thanks for being here if you're watching this on replay. On Instagram, you can watch it for up to 24 hours after it's over, so go watch the replay. If you missed the replay on Instagram or if you can't find it on Facebook, we do put all the past episodes up on YouTube, so go follow me on YouTube. Type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show are in podcast form over on the Jimmy Rants podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at jimmyrants.com. So Instagram, until next time, we'll see you then.